What is up, guys? Welcome to another poker vlog. Today is Saturday and we're on our way to Niagara Falls, Casino Niagara. It's a bit of a long drive. I do know that the second 5-10 table is about to start. Mandatory straddle to 20, so the game gets pretty big. I hope there's going to be a seat by the time we get there. If not, we're going to have to play the 2-5. And I'm not staying there for long, so if there's no seat for me, I don't think I'll be playing the big games today. So let's hope there's a seat for us. So before we start, you guys actually might notice here that I have $1,100 in front of me, and that's because I missed a huge hand right before I could start setting up the camera. I'm actually up $600, and with that said, let me bring you guys back up to date before we continue with this vlog. I'm gonna go over this hand as quickly as possible, so please just bear with me for one hand. As soon as I sit down, I get dealt the dream pocket aces in the big blind. MP, hijack, cutoff, and small blind all limp. It's a no-brainer for me here. I raise it to 45. Only the cutoff folds and we go to a flop 4 ways. The flop comes 9-4-3, 2 clubs and 1 spade. Small blind checks. While I am betting into 3 players, I still think I have the best hand and I want to charge the draws, so I bet 90. MP raises to 225 and it folds back to me. He can definitely have a ton of draws here. As I don't block the flush draw, he can have hands like 4-5, and maybe he's overplaying hands like 9-10, which I'm crushing. If he does have 2 pair, like 3-4, I can still counterfeit him if a 9 comes, so I go all in. He snap calls, the turn is a queen, the river's a 7, I open my hand, and he mucks. Okay, we are officially back to the vlog. Last vlog, I asked you guys if you guys like the portrait with the replayer format more or the landscape format more. So I'm going to try something new today. I'm going to try and incorporate both into the vlog and see how it plays out, since the preference was 50-50. If you guys love it or hate it, please let me know in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get into the vlog. We start off with Ace Jack of Spades under the gun and open to $15. Under the gun +1, mid position, and button, all call. We go to the flop 4 ways. The flop comes Ace Jack Deuce, 2 hearts and 1 club. I see bet 25 wanting weaker hands like Ace X to call. Under the gun +1 folds and MP raises to 85. The button gets out of the way and now I'm trying to figure out what MP can have. Since he flatted my open, the only hands that make sense here are deuces, Ace Deuce, and Ace Jack for value, which I'm blocking, or he could have a lot of flush draws, or maybe like Jack X of hearts. I play it safe and just call. The turn is a bad one, it's the 4 of hearts. The flush gets there and now I'm in check call mode. He ends up checking back. The river is the 7 of spades. Him checking back on the turn reduces the likelihood of him having a flush, but at the same time, I don't think I could get any value from hands that I beat, so I decide to check. He bets 135 into a pot of about 250. My hand's pretty much a bluff catcher at this point, but he's giving me such a good price to call. I toss in the chips and he shows Ace Jack of Diamonds. It's a chop pot. Well, I guess it could have been worse. For the next hand, we are dealt Ace 4 of Spades. There's a $10 straddle. The hijack makes it 30. Now I have some history with him and I know he's a bit of a loose player. I take advantage here and 3-bet to 120. He ends up making the call and we go to a flop heads up. The flop comes Queen 6-4, 2 hearts and 1 diamond. We flop bottom pair. He checks and this board favors my range as he shouldn't have too many hands better than just a queen. I want to bet here to deny him equity since my bottom pair is still very vulnerable. I bet $80. He immediately puts out a check raise of $225. Now I'm in a tough spot, but like I said before, the villain's a loose player, he's capable of making moves, and while normally this is a close spot for me, I just can't fold to this player specifically because I know if I hit an ace or a 4, it's very likely he's going to keep firing. I'm also still ahead of some of his hands, like a flush draw, so I end up making the call. The turn is the 7 of spades. This card definitely helps him more than it helps me, as I would just call pre-flop with pocket 7s, and hands like 5-3 and 5-8 are in his range, not mine. He checks, which makes me a little bit worried, because if he was bluffing on the flop, I'd expect him to fire again when the 7 hits, so when he checks, I just check back. So the river is an interesting card. It's the 7 of hearts. The flush gets there, and he ends up betting 350. For some reason, I just kind of get the feeling that he's bluffing. Either that, or he somehow managed to hit trips, which can make sense since he checked the turn when he picked up some showdown equity. If I had a hand like ace-king that floated his 3-bet with the ace of hearts, I could consider jamming here as a bluff, but that's not the case, and I think it's a little bit suicidal to do so. I think about it for over a minute, and I just let my ego take over me. I make a hero call here. He says 2 pair and turns over his hand. I see a 4 and get super excited because I know I have the best kicker, but unfortunately, I see the other card and it's a 6. There's nothing else I can say here other than this has got to be one of the worst calls of my life, and I'm embarrassed to even show this hand in the vlog. There's no time to dwell on the past, we're just gonna move right on along. Everyone on the table agrees to start straddling, and we get dealt pocket 7s in the straddle. MP opens to $50 and it folds around to me. I noticed that he only started the hand with about $480. Now pocket 7s here isn't great since he's short, only playing about 50 big blinds if we count the straddle. I make the call anyway since I'm in a gambling mood and I need to make up for the chips I lost last hand. The poker gods must have heard me. The flop is 10-9-7 rainbow. I check and he bets 65. His pre-flop sizing tells me that he's got a huge hand here, so I just check raise him to 200. He jams for the rest of his stack, which is about $430. I call, the turn is a queen, and the river is the 6. As long as he doesn't have pocket queens, I'm good. Thankfully, he mucks and we win some chips back into our stack. This will be the last exciting hand we play before moving to the 5-10-20 table. I get dealt ace-7 of clubs in the big blind. I apologize for forgetting to peel it in front of the camera. Under the gun raises to 35, MP calls, it folds around to us, and we make the call as well. The straddle folds and we go to the flop 3 ways. I have both these players tagged as an aggro fish, and they seem to be a bit tilted as they're already stuck for a lot previously. The flop is not bad for us, it's ace-3-5 rainbow. We have top pair with a backdoor flush draw. I check. Under the gun puts out a bet of $65. MP calls, and I call as well. The turn is the 10 of clubs, which gives us the nut flush draw to go along with our top pair. I check. Under the gun decides to check now, and now it's MP's turn to start betting. He puts out a bet of 90. I call, and under the gun calls as well. The river is a beautiful card. It's the 2 of clubs. We river the nut flush. I have to bet here since this card is very scary for the both of them, and they will very likely check it down if I check it to them. So I bet 300. UTG calls the 300, and here's where I put on the performance of a lifetime. I start shaking my head, mumbling, picking up my cards off the table, acting like I just got caught bluffing, hoping MP also calls, thinking that UTG is bluff catching me. Whatever it was, I could not have expected what he did next. He puts out a min raise of $600. At this point, the jig is up. I put on my best poker face before I go all in for $1,100. MP gives a little bit of a chuckle before throwing his cards away, and now it's MP's turn to start mumbling and shaking his head as he agonizes over what to do. In the end, he ends up putting in a crying call. He shows pocket 3s for a flopped set, and we show him the bad news. Wow, I can't believe he just gifted us an extra $800, but hey, we'll take it. A seat freed up for me in the 5-10-20, but I'm feeling a bit tired and figured it was time to grab a bite. Pizza and wings sounds good. After dinner, I finally take my seat at the 5, 10, 20 table. I've got a long drive back, so I'll only be playing here for about another 2 hours. I'm gonna spoil it for you guys, nothing much happens here, but there were 2 hands I really wanted to share. So the first hand, we get 5-4 offsuit in the big blind, middle position, hijack, and button, all limp. We're getting great odds here, so I might as well throw in the calling chips too, and the straddle checks. We are 5 ways to the flop. The flop comes deuce 3-4 rainbow, giving us top pair and an up and down straight draw. I check, the straddle checks, the hijack bets $80 and it folds around back to us. I decide to go for a check raise here and make it 225. The straddle folds, he thinks for a bit and he makes the call. We're going to the turn heads up. The turn is a 10 of diamonds. It's pretty much a brick on this board. I fire once again for 350. I also think check calling here is okay, and it makes a lot of sense. The hijack does end up making the call, and we're off to see a river. The river is an ace, giving us the second nuts. Since hijack limped pre-flop, he can have a lot of random 2-pair hands like ace 4, 4-3, etc. I definitely want value if he has one of those hands, so I bet out 700, hoping he would call. He thinks about it for a while before eventually throwing his cards away. We don't get the call, but at least we win a decent pot. Alright, so this is the last hand of the vlog and it makes me sick just thinking about it. I get dealt queen 10 offsuit on the button. There's no straddle this hand because the big blind just returned to his seat and the under the gun player didn't want to straddle 2 times in a row, so that's fine. It's just a normal 5-10 game. The cutoff limps $10, and he seems like a fish limping in this late of a position, so I raise it up to $60 to isolate him. The action folds back to the cutoff, and he makes the call. The flop is amazing. It comes queen, queen, 5, rainbow. He checks, and I want to start building a pot here, so I bet a small size of $40, and he quickly calls. The turn is the 9 of spades, which brings in a flush draw, and jack 10 makes a straight draw, but I'm not really putting him on that. He checks. Now, he can have a ton of hands here that floated the flop, so I bet small, hoping that he might call me again with like ace high. I bet $80. And here, he surprises me. He check raises me to $230. I'm either crushed here or he's got some type of draw. In the end, I do end up making the call. I hope he checks the river because if he bets big on the river, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. The river is the 3 of spades and he immediately bets out $600, which is about a pot size bet. My hand at this point is a pure bluff catcher. He either has a better queen, pocket 5s, or backdoor flush for value. I've never seen this player before, but I was told he likes to make moves by a friend of mine on the table. It's possible his hand contains air as he limped and then called in the cutoff. Against most people, I think I would just exploitatively fold this hand. Even though it looks strong, I don't really beat much, and the general population kind of under bluffs anyways. I'm thinking about it for a bit, and I do end up throwing in the chips. And of course, I make another bad call. He shows pocket 5s. Shortly after that hand, I just leave. It feels bad to punt off a little bit there at the end, but overall, it wasn't too bad. I'm only down about $550 on the 5, 10, 20 game, but I'm still up a lot in the 2, 5 game. Hey guys, just came back from Niagara, decided to stay over, so I'm pretty tired. Let me give you guys a quick recap. We are up $2,132 in the 2, 5 game and down $537 in the 5, 10, 20 game. Let me know what you guys think about the new format with the landscape and the replayer on the side. I tried to please both sides of the audience, but if you guys don't like it, I'm probably going to scrap that idea and revert back to just landscape regular vlogging format. I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. It was my second vlog. I'm still learning. Any advice or comments below would be great, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.